Hello, this is Mrs. Boots, and this is our lesson on writing the equation from the vertex and a point. So first thing you need to remember is that our vertex form of the equation is y equals a times x minus h, quantity squared, plus k. Okay, because we're going to plug in the xy and the hk, and we're going to find a. That's what we're going to have to find. So first example, I have my vertex, so I have my h and my k, right? And I also have a point, so I have an xy. So there's a couple of things I want to point out here. So first, plot your vertex point. Vertex point, and go over 2 and up 5. There's my vertex. Okay? Now the point on the curve, this is crazy, it's going to go off my screen, is at 0, 17. So I'm just going to stick it right up here at the top, okay? This is a crazy stretched out parabola, but that's alright. Okay? So if I remember right, there's this thing called an axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry cuts through the vertex, right? Okay, so if it cuts through the vertex, that means there's a mirror image. That means that point is reflected on the other side. So how far away is that point from the axis of symmetry? Well, it's 2 away. So if I go 2 on the other side, there's another point on the other side of that axis of symmetry, okay, that we could draw in that our parabola also goes through, okay? So I know that's kind of a sloppy quadratic there with my beautiful parabola shape, but you get the point. It's a reflection on the other side. So we need to find the a value. That's what we're looking for. So we're going to plug everything else in. First thing I'm going to do is actually write the equation. So it's y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so what are we plugging in? Alright, I'm going to plug in y, x, h, and k. Alright, here we go. Let's try it. So y is 17. We don't know a. X is, what, 0. H is 2, so I'm going to subtract 2. And k is 5. So I add 5 at the end. Alright? Hardest part of the problem is plugging in the numbers. I know it sounds crazy, but people plug them in some crazy random fashion. Doesn't need to be that way. Okay, so now I got to solve for a, but it's messing with you. Things are messing with you. I see this plus 5. Guess what? Move it to the other side so I can get a by itself. So it's minus 5. So 17 minus 5 is 12. Well, that's easy enough, right? Okay, so I got 12 equals a. Then I get this stuff in parentheses. Can I simplify that? Yeah, we can simplify that. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Okay, so now let's square that negative 2. What is negative 2 squared? Alright, well, isn't it a positive 4? So I have a times 4. Well, if I'm multiplying by something, how do I move it to the other side to solve? Correct. We're going to divide by 4. Okay, so we've divided by 4. The 4's cancel. And now what is 12 divided by 4? 3. So I get a equals 3. Okay, so here's the hard part. You're not done yet. You are not done yet. I know that's crazy, right? We actually have to go back to our wonderful equation here and write it out. So I'm just going to kind of draw over top of my graph here, nice and pretty. Okay, so now I've got to plug in h, k. So I'm plugging in h, k, and a the second time. We don't plug in the x and y. So I have y equals a. What's a? A is 3, okay, and then it's parentheses x minus h. What's h? H is still 2, so I still put a 2 in there. Okay, it's still squared, and now I have my plus k at the end. What was k? K is 5, plus 5. Alright, this is my equation. This is my answer. The other part was just for kicks and giggles. No, the other part was to find our a value so that we would be able to plug it in. Let's do one more example. So in this example, our vertex is at negative 2, negative 5. So I'm going to go negative 2, down negative 5, and this is my vertex. Okay? We have a point at 2, 3. So I'm going to go over to positive 2, 3. There's my point. All right, so now let's think about this. We have an axis of symmetry coming through here. All right, my axis of symmetry is the mirror reflection. How far away is that point? It's 4 away, so I go 4 on the other side, and I should have a mirror reflection point on the other side. This is my mirror. Okay? So now I could draw my parabola from the vertex, kind of get an idea of what I'm looking at, up through that mirror reflection point. So we kind of get an idea of what's going on here. Now let's label things. Okay, so I have H in my vertex, that's the -2, K, my -5, and then my point tells me X and Y. Alright, so I got to start. Y equals A times X minus H squared plus K. Easy enough. We're going to plug it in. Alright, so what was Y? Y is 3. So I have 3 equals, well, we don't know A, so we got to leave that as a variable. X is 2. H is -2, so minus a -2 becomes +2. Got to watch the signs. And then K is -5. Craziness. Alright, but we can handle it. We're smart. We can do this. So let's move that 5. What are we going to do? It's subtracting. The opposite would be adding. Alright, so 3 plus 5 is 8. Cool beans. We got our 8. Okay, now I got A. 2 plus 2 is what? 4. Oh, we got to square that 4. Don't forget the square. Okay? Alright, so now I'm ready to square my 4. Okay, so I have 8 still. I have my A, and 4 squared is 16. Well, I got to get rid of the 16, move it to the other side. So I'm going to divide by the 16. So now A, well, this is weird. A is equal to 8 over 16. What's 8 over 16? It's not 2. It's 1/2. Okay, make sure we get our fractions right. So it's 1/2. Now I go back to my equation. Back to the top, only this time, instead of plugging in Y and X, I'm just plugging in the A, the H, and the K. Alright, so let's see if we can do that. So I still have Y equals. Now let's plug in A. What was A? A is 1/2. Okay? Got a parenthesis, got an X. Now I got to plug in H. What was H? H is -2, so it's going to be a +2 squared. Alright, and then we have K. Where's K? K is -5. It stays -5. No big deal. And this is our equation in the vertex or parent function form. This concludes the notes for writing the equation given the vertex and a point.